Hey guys, my name is Hab and this is the T30, a tank you should probably own if you like big guns. Now, I like big guns, I cannot lie about that, and the T30 tries to scratch that itch that I sometimes feel. It is a very good tier 9 tank and I would dare say it's probably my favorite tier 9 TD. It doesn't look special at the first glance to most people, but there's one thing that really brings it above other TDs in this tier, and I'm not just talking about the fully traversable turret. The gun is typical American fare. It is absolutely massive, however. 155mm is an obscene amount, and even though it's just 640 alpha, you have very high penetration. 276, 320 and 90 is nothing to scoff at. There are of course some drawbacks, your shell velocity for example. 870 meters a second isn't anything high, however for tier 9 tank destroyers that's pretty much standard fare. You'd be surprised how many TDs have lower velocity. The almighty Waffle Tractor has 757. Your dispersion isn't anything outstanding either. 0.353 isn't bad, but you're definitely going to have some misses. I personally run the refined gun, but I recommend using the stabilizer instead. Your reload isn't anything fantastic either, in my opinion. At 14.4 seconds, you're nowhere near the likes of the Conway, Object 704 and such other big whoppers. It's why you should really maximize your ammo usage. Just 3 HE shells can get you comfortably over 3k. The last thing I want to mention about this gun is the 10 degrees of gun depression, which is just fantastic even on its own. However, this actually merges into the other topic I want to mention involving the T30, and I believe it is its armor profile that makes the tank truly special. This tank is basically a T29 with a 155mm, maybe a T34 if you want to get punctual, so it has the same advantages and disadvantages of those tanks. You keep the pretty bad hull armor, but you also get to keep the turret. The T30 is already special just because it has a fully traversable turret, but that's just the first good part. The second one is that you keep the hold-down characteristics of the other T-series tanks. Granted, it's the same 279mm of armor on the front of the turret. At tier 7, that's pretty much impenetrable, excluding the cupola weak point. However, we are 2 tiers higher now, so how does the turret perform here? Well, the good news is that it still performs, however, there are a few caveats you should be very aware of. When hold down, your cupola isn't the only weak spot anymore. Your turret cheeks are in danger as well, however, keep in mind that the enemy tank must have around 280mm of penetration to even attempt that. And even then they may fail to go through, but this keeps you in check. You can't be too aggressive against other tank destroyers, as with some knowledge, your main strong point can be easily nullified. This is why I recommend using the T30 only hold down and to use your gun depression as much as you can. This effectively hides the cupola on top of the turret, which makes you much harder to penetrate. Other than that, you may try the side scrape, but you should only attempt that against low-pen targets, as your side armor isn't anything stellar. Don't forget about your really weak engine deck either. The mobility, as always, is a very boring topic, mainly because it's good enough for the T30. Goes 35 km per hour, doesn't get there really quickly, but it gets there in a while, so that's fine. Keep in mind that your turret traverse isn't high, it's under 20 degrees. Track traverse is under 30, so don't expect to be nimble. So how do I actually run the tank? Well, first of all I use the gun rammer, defense system and camo net. Next, the gun length drive, improved assembly and engine accelerator. The argument for improved armor here is possible. You have a huge base armor value on your turret, and it would benefit, but your HP pool is already very low. Then I personally use the refined gun, but I'd recommend the vertical stabilizer to see if you prefer that. After that, I'd recommend the toolbox and consumable delivery system. Before I go rambling about recommendations, however, I also have to mention one thing, and that is that you can forego a lot of AP shells in exchange for Pramo and HE on this tank. I run 6 APCR shells and 10 high explosive, for example, and I can get away with it, because your rate of fire is not that high. You're not gonna fire more than 10 shots per game most of the time. So let's look over the pros and cons real quick. Well, the pros: great firepower, good hold down capability, and great gun depression. And the cons: well, bad hull armor, average mobility, and inconsistent accuracy. So would I recommend the T30? Well, of course I would. That's why I said you should probably own this tank at the start of the review. It's a neat tank that doesn't really play like a tank destroyer that much, and it doesn't need to camp at the back of the map all the time. If you've got the time to try it out, give it a spin. And now it's time for 2 replays from yours truly, homemade as always. Alright, so, and the first battle is on the vineyards. Unfortunately, I do not really have a large enough view on the video, so you're gonna have to forgive me if I can't speak on time. And if you think that I sound ill right now, that is because I am. You have guessed correctly. So, the first battle, without hyping you up any bit, this is obviously a defeat. However, it does show a few mistakes that I want you to be well aware of when you are playing a tank such as the T30. The first mistake is coming up very soon. Right now I'm just looking at the shots, I'm already spotted. And instead of just de-spotting myself, I just try to peek out. I could have stayed like this the whole time, and I could have hit that AMX 30 like that, but instead I exposed my hull and the AMX got an easy shot. It was a decent trade for almost 700, but I would not recommend this as you do have that very, very low HP pool. 1500 isn't exactly a lot at tier 9. Granted, a lot of TDs have that, but what can you do? This thing isn't really a conventional TD. Anyways, that's the AMX 30 practically taken care of, and now it's time to move up, mainly because there is literally nothing else to shoot here. Now, the base is currently being carried by a T95 E6, and I'm trying to see if I can get a cheeky shot into him. Close, but not quite, and that E6 will come into play later. Right now, what I am focusing on are those tanks in the city, and keep in mind how I am trying to conceal my hull, even though I want to expose myself for a shot every now and then. Soon enough it hit me that the T95 E6 could possibly cap this whole place out. So after this shot, I just straight up went into the cap circle to try and at least hold off the cap a little. Unfortunately, the T95 E6 already got hit, so my efforts would be practically in vain. Anyways, here's another cheeky shot at an E100. I don't know why I was trying to load HE there, maybe I was trying to pen him, who knows. But anyways, here comes Papa Hab. And here he messes up a shot, and you should really try to aim your shots in the T30 as much as you can, because shots like that are gonna be pretty commonplace. You do not want those to happen at all. And that is why I run the refined gun on the T30, just to help that dispersion a considerable bit. That was a very nice shot on the 183, and at this point I basically started realizing that this battle is not gonna be a win unless I pulled a hardcore carry from my ass. So that was a wonderful shot on the E100, went straight where it needed to. And at this point I have switched into that sort of mentality where I just want to get as much damage as I can before I die. And here comes the T95 E6, completely unaware that I am about to nuke him. Nice. So that gets us to around 4000 damage, if I recall correctly, and, you know, that is a fairly respectable amount on the T30. But what's more interesting is this shot on the 113. That is, ooh, that should not have hit, knowing this tank. You should not try to take as many, well, risky shots as you can, though they may prove to be, viable, they may work out pretty well. Some stuff like that is just not gonna happen all the time, just do not count on that. Anyways, here is the biggest mistake of this battle. I was trying to get some damage on the 113, and here is the biggest mistake. I stopped. I should have kept on moving, because I completely forgot about the Jagdpanzer behind me. The 113 smashed me up, and now here comes the Jagdpanzer. Ooh, that punched a lot. Anyways, that is the first battle. Nasty loss, but what can you do? But however, it did have quite a lot of damage. Almost 6,000 in fact, but don't worry, the second battle is gonna be much, much better. So I'll see you in the second replay then. Alright, and replay number 2 is on Mayan ruins. Now, this is a top tier battle, but hey, I don't really care. I am extremely tired, so sorry if the commentary sounds a little bit messed up. However, I just want to get this video done so I can focus on other things that I currently have to deal with in my life. Anyways, I honestly feel that the T30 is a perfectly fantastic tank destroyer. Granted, it does miss its shots every now and then, but I should really come to expect that. It's an American tank destroyer after all. Like, what am I gonna expect of it? Hit? But yeah, anyways, that is a very nice shot on the Skoda, and I should have probably fired the HE there, and oh Jesus. If I actually fired HE there, I think it would be likely that I would deal full damage against the Skoda turret. However, we are gonna rectify that issue very, very soon. Just watch this Pantera. Oh, this is hilarious. Oh, this is rich. Oh, feel the pain. The T30 can honestly deal enormous damage if you can use your ammunition properly, like against that Pantera. The more armor profiles you intricately know, the better you are just gonna perform, because you can just exploit their weaknesses. Just fire HE into spots that you know will just go fully through and you'll deal enormous damage. Maybe set them on fire, maybe blow up their ammo rack, who knows. The T30 is just capable of that. And it is capable of going all down. What's not to like? Oh, jeez. Oh, right now the battle is going pretty evenly. We still have to fight a Skoda and that T54E1. However, here I made a relatively bizarre mistake. I should have helped with the Shark against that Skoda. However, I have decided to suddenly turn around and with my rather lackluster mobility to suddenly start pushing up into a hill. That is not the most bright idea, I can tell you that. You should really not try to do that, because honestly the T30 does struggle a lot with steep inclines and areas such as this. However, we will quickly clear the T54E1 and not before we get a shot. We'll take a shot from him. And now we are moving up against the 252. The odds aren't good, but there's still a chance that we can move this into our favor. The 252 is almost dead, however the Shark isn't exactly moving in, and the 252 is going against me, not the kind of stuff you usually want to see. So just on the last millisecond, I get the shot just before the Shark gets it, or that the 252 just claps me. And now, the Shark will have to deal with another enemy tank, while I hopefully try to stop the enemy ML1. Now this next part is just pure RNG. I have absolutely no idea what happened here. Immediately get terrified because it's an ML, and he bounces. So I immediately start turning around, and he pins again, if I recall correctly. Right now the preview is frozen, and then he just messes up the shot completely, and that gives me a free kill. So all that is left is the enemy Waffenträger, or the Waffle Tractor, the almighty Waffle Tractor. Still before those consumables were added, by the way. But yeah, rest assured the waffle isn't there, and the shark will find him very, very soon as I suddenly start going up this hill again. There we go, that's him spotted, and I immediately start turning around. So, well, the T30, I like it. There's no reason you shouldn't like it either, and you should probably give it a chance. Well, you should probably give me a chance with the downright terrible commentary that I'm giving you right now, but hey, I have too many excuses to use. So, anyway, that has been it from me. My name is Hab. If you somehow like this video, feel free to like, comment, subscribe, whatever, and I'll catch you guys later, hopefully, finally, with that mini-series that I have talked about before. Anyways, I'll see you guys later, and bye-bye.